The Young and the Restless spoilers Friday's full episodes January 17, 2025 Billy's quest for revenge. The Newman family in his crosshairs. Billy Abbott had always been a man of passion, whether in love, business, or personal grudges. But over the years, his resentment toward the Newman family had festered into a burning hatred. He didn't just see them as rivals, he saw them as enemies who needed to be destroyed. Every wound, every humiliation he had suffered at their hands, had driven him closer to the edge. Now, Billy was done playing by the rules. He wanted justice, or, more accurately, revenge. Why Billy hates the Newmans. Billy's animosity toward the Newmans wasn't born overnight. It had been forged through years of betrayal and personal loss, much of it orchestrated by Victor, Adam, and Nikki. The Newmans had meddled in his life countless times. Victor's power plays, Victor Newman, always the puppet master, had undermined Billy's business ventures time and again, including the hostile takeover of Chancellor Industries. What once belonged to the Abbott legacy was now under Newman control, a wound Billy couldn't forgive. Adam's betrayals. Adam Newman had been a thorn in Billy's side for years. From the tragic death of Billy's daughter Delia, which Adam had indirectly caused, to his manipulation of Billy's personal and professional life, Adam symbolized everything Billy despised about the Newmans. Nikki's complicity. While Nikki wasn't as openly ruthless, her loyalty to Victor and her passive approval of his schemes made her complicit in Billy's eyes. She had turned a blind eye to Victor's actions, allowing the Newman patriarch to continue his reign unchecked. Billy's hatred had grown to the point where he viewed the entire Newman family as a collective enemy, an empire that needed to fall. Phyllis joins the plot. Phyllis Summers, always drawn to chaos, discovered Billy's plans for revenge and found herself intrigued. Though their romantic relationship was in the past, the two shared a deep bond forged through their mutual disdain for the Newmans. Phyllis knew that Billy's desire for vengeance could lead to dangerous consequences, but she couldn't resist the allure of joining his crusade. "You're playing with fire," she warned him. But her sly smile betrayed her true feelings. "Lucky for you, I love the heat." Together, they began crafting a plan to dismantle the Newman family's power, starting with their businesses. Phyllis brought her cunning and resourcefulness to the table, while Billy channeled his rage into calculated moves designed to hit the Newmans where it hurt most. Jordan's threat looms. Meanwhile, a new storm was brewing as Victoria learned that Jordan, the elusive and dangerous woman who had kidnapped Sharon, was still in Genoa City. The revelation sent shockwaves through Victoria's already fragile sense of security. But what terrified her most wasn't Jordan herself, it was the possibility that her daughter, Claire, could become the next target. Victoria's maternal instincts kicked into overdrive. She knew that Claire had been involved with Jordan in the past, albeit reluctantly, and she feared that Jordan's penchant for revenge would lead her straight to Claire. Desperate to protect her daughter, Victoria confronted Claire, demanding the truth. Claire's confession shaken by her mother's intensity and her own fear of Jordan, Claire finally confessed everything. She revealed the full extent of her involvement with Jordan, including their brief but unsettling alliance. "I didn't want to help her," Claire admitted tearfully. "But I was scared, and I didn't know what else to do." Victoria's heart ached for her daughter, but her priority was clear: to keep Claire safe at all costs. She vowed to eliminate the threat of Jordan once and for all, but she knew it wouldn't be easy. Jordan was cunning, resourceful, and now completely isolated, making her even more unpredictable. Jordan alone. Ian Ward cuts ties. Jordan's already precarious situation took a turn for the worse when her former ally, Ian Ward, decided to sever all ties with her. Ian, a master manipulator in his own right, saw no value in continuing his association with Jordan after her recent failures. "You've become a liability," he told her coldly. "I have no use for someone who can't clean up their own messes." Now abandoned by her last remaining ally, Jordan found herself truly alone. The fragile alliances she had once relied on were shattered, leaving her to navigate the dangerous waters of Genoa City without any support. Her isolation, however, didn't make her less dangerous. If anything, it made her more desperate, and desperation often led to reckless decisions. A game of survival with Billy plotting against the Newmans, Phyllis adding her own schemes to the mix, and Jordan lurking as an unpredictable wild card, Genoa City became a powder keg waiting to explode. Each player in this dangerous game had their own motives, but one thing was clear: survival would depend on who struck first. Billy and Phyllis. Their calculated attacks on Newman Enterprises threatened to destabilize Victor's empire, but would their alliance hold under pressure, or would their personal agendas tear them apart? Victoria and Claire. Victoria's desperate efforts to protect her daughter put her in direct conflict with Jordan, but could she outmaneuver a woman who thrived on chaos? Jordan, alone and cornered, Jordan was a ticking time bomb. Without allies or resources, her next move could be her most dangerous yet. As the players moved their pieces across the board, one thing became increasingly clear: no one in Genoa City would emerge unscathed. Whether through revenge, betrayal, or sheer survival, the coming storm would test every bond, every alliance, and every soul. Victor discovers the truth. Jordan's escape and Sharon's despair. The Newman family had always been known for their resilience, strength, and unwavering unity in the face of danger. Victor Newman, the patriarch, was the pillar of that strength, a man who thrived on challenges and protected his family at all costs. But when it came to the dangerous and unpredictable Jordan, the Newman women found themselves hesitant to involve him, at least at first. Claire's hesitation. Claire, still grappling with the weight of her involvement in the Jordan ordeal, decided to keep Victor in the dark. "He doesn't need to know," she told Nikki and Victoria. "He's already dealing with so much. I can handle this." But Nikki and Victoria were unconvinced. They understood Victor's role in the family better than anyone. "You're underestimating your grandfather," Nikki said firmly. "Victor is the one person who can face someone like Jordan and come out on top. He's dealt with far worse." Victoria nodded in agreement. "Claire, this isn't just about you. Sharon's life is at stake. If there's anyone who can stop Jordan, it's Dad." Despite her reservations, Claire's guilt began to weigh heavily on her. She knew Victor's involvement could make the difference, but her fear of disappointing him held her back. She hadn't yet grasped the depth of Victor's love for his family or his capacity to deal with threats, no matter how dire. Victor steps in. Nikki and Victoria, unwilling to let the situation spiral further, decided to tell Victor the truth themselves. They knew he wouldn't take the news lightly, but they also trusted his ability to remain calm under pressure. "Jordan escaped," Nikki said bluntly, watching Victor's expression harden. "She's still out there, and she's the one who kidnapped Sharon." Victor's jaw tightened, his piercing gaze revealing his growing anger. "You're telling me this now?" he demanded, his voice low but full of authority. Victoria interjected, "We didn't want to overwhelm you, Dad, but we need your help. Jordan isn't just a threat, she's dangerous in ways we can't fully understand." Victor nodded slowly, already formulating a plan. "Jordan may be clever," he said, "but she's no match for me. I'll handle this." Jordan's psychological grip. Victor's confidence was rooted in his vast experience dealing with adversaries, but even he understood that Jordan was no ordinary foe. She operated with a level of unpredictability that made her especially dangerous. Jordan thrived on chaos, using fear and manipulation as her primary weapons. Her ability to escape prison, kidnap Sharon, and evade capture spoke to her cunning. But Jordan's most terrifying trait was her lack of a clear motive. She wasn't driven by money, revenge, or even personal gain. She seemed to act purely out of malice, targeting people simply because she could. Victor's determination to confront Jordan was matched only by his understanding of her unpredictability. He knew this wasn't a fight he could win through brute force alone. It would require strategy, patience, and an unyielding resolve. Sharon's struggle for freedom. While the Newman family strategized, Sharon was left to fend for herself in captivity. Held in a grim, isolated location, she was chained to a heavy metal bar that anchored her to the floor. The room was dark and cold, the air thick with despair. But Sharon wasn't one to give up easily. Despite her dire circumstances, she clung to hope and began searching for a way to escape. Her eyes fell on a rusted iron rod lying on the ground, likely discarded by Jordan without a second thought. Summoning every ounce of strength she had, Sharon grabbed the rod and began working on the chain. She used the sharp edge to scrape at the lock, her hands blistering from the effort. Time and time again, the chain resisted her attempts. Tears of frustration and fear welled in her eyes, but she refused to give up. "I won't let her win," Sharon whispered to herself, her voice trembling but resolute. "I won't die here." The Newman women's warning back at the Newman ranch, Nikki and Victoria urged Victor to be cautious. "Jordan isn't like the others you've dealt with," Nikki warned. "She's cruel in ways that are hard to describe. She doesn't just hurt people physically, she breaks them mentally." Victoria added, "We're not saying you can't handle her, Dad. We just want you to know what you're walking into. She's not predictable, and she has nothing to lose." Victor's response was as steady as ever. "That may be true, but she's also alone. A person like that can't survive without allies, and she knows it. She'll make a mistake, and when she does, I'll be there." His words offered reassurance, but Nikki and Victoria remained on edge. They knew how dangerous Jordan was, and they couldn't shake the feeling that this confrontation would test even Victor's legendary resolve. The next move, as Victor began piecing together a strategy to locate Jordan and rescue Sharon, Claire finally approached him with an apology. "I should have told you sooner," she admitted, her voice filled with remorse. I didn't want you to have to deal with this." Victor placed a reassuring hand on her shoulder. "Claire, you're family. Nothing is more important than that. You don't have to protect me, I'm here to protect all of you." With the Newman family united and Victor at the helm, the stage was set for a high-stakes confrontation with Jordan. But time was running out for Sharon, and every second mattered. A glimmer of hope as Sharon continued her desperate attempts to break free, she noticed something, a small crack in the lock. It wasn't much, but it was enough to reignite her hope. With renewed determination, she redoubled her efforts, ignoring the pain in her hands and the exhaustion weighing her down. "I'm getting out of here," she whispered, her voice fierce. "No matter what it takes." While Sharon fought for her life, the Newman family prepared to fight for hers as well. The battle against Jordan was far from over, but with Victor leading the charge, they had a chance to bring her reign of terror to an end.